Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be working with this little pit bull puppy here, and I'm going to be giving you some tips on teaching your dog to come to you when you call them, as well as teaching them to stay when you ask them to. So one of the first concepts that I want to discuss with you is that when we're first beginning the early stages of the recall process, we want to make sure that we are able to get the dog moving toward us when we give the dog the cue. All right, so I'm going to be using the dog's name. This is Izzy, and the word come. And notice that I have just a 6-foot leash on her right now, because I don't want to take her off the leash and let her wander around and then me call her and she not respond, because then she's not going to learn what I even want from her as far as learning the cue. So what I'm going to do, just kind of move her around, and then randomly I'm going to just call her to me, and I'm going to kind of back up, so if she doesn't come, that leash is going to catch. Izzy, come. Good girl. Good. Good girl. Good. And so that's the first step. So you should take your dog out with a leash on and practice just calling them, letting your dog come to you, and then you're going to feed some treats. All right, and you want to do a lot of repetitions of these. As the dog starts to get better, we can start to substitute other types of rewards that the dog may like. For instance, with this puppy, she really likes to play tug, which a lot of pits do. So I can use this for a reward as well as food. All right, so I can move her around. Izzy, come. Good girl. Good, and I can produce a little tug toy. Good girl. Good. So you may have saw in the video right there that she heard something off in the distance, right? So if I didn't have this leash on, she may have just taken off, and then I would have called her and she would have learned that she can ignore that command. So in the early stages, put a leash on her. As your dog gets better, the next thing that I typically do is extend the leash. So now what I've done is I have put her on a 30-foot long line. Now I can allow her to move further away from me, but I still can control her if necessary. So if I call her and she doesn't come, I can get moving backwards and use this line to guide her back to me. So now what I'll typically do is just kind of wander around my yard here, and then randomly I will be calling her, letting her come to me, getting something that she likes, like food treats or a game of tug, and then I will let her go back to doing whatever she was doing beforehand, which may be exploring the yard. So watch how I do this. Izzy, come. Good girl. Good girl. Good. Good. So it's really important that when we call the dogs that we are able to make ourselves interesting and exciting. We want to try to be more exciting than the environment that the dog is in, especially in the early stages. So a lot of times what people do is they make the mistake of putting the dog into a situation in which the dog just does not have enough experience in coming to the owner. So you would not want to start this with a lot of other dogs out here in this field with her off leash. I'm going to show you a clip that she is able to do that currently, but when I was first beginning to work with her a couple weeks ago, there's no way I would not start out there. So I want to create a nice strong foundation of her coming to me and it being an enjoyable experience for her, and then usually she gets to go back to doing whatever she was doing beforehand. So that's really important, that coming to me does not mean that I'm going to do something that she doesn't like. For instance, I don't call her and then put her into a crate. Okay, so what we'll do now is I'll go ahead and show you a clip that I shot earlier today of her coming within a group of dogs. Izzy, come. Okay. Izzy, come. The next skill that I'm going to be briefly discussing is stay. So stay is another really important concept that all dogs are going to benefit from knowing. I usually start off teaching the dogs to stay on a dog bed. So I usually use the cue place. Good. Stay. And just like come when called, I start the dog off in a situation that's not distracting at all for the puppy, okay? So when I'm first practicing this, I'm practicing her on the dog bed, me pretty close to her, and I'm feeding fairly often throughout that stay. As she gets better, I start to increase the amount of time in between the food rewards. I start to increase the distance away from her. And then I start to add in various distracting situations. So I may start off with putting a little bit of food on the floor and seeing, stay. Stay. So if she makes a mistake, the way I typically train is I mark that mistake with nope or and I just put the dog back on the bed. Okay, once the dog is successful, then I'm going to reward the dog. Stay. As she has gotten better over the past 3 weeks with me increasing the distance and increasing the length of time she can stay, I started introducing other dogs into the room. All right, so I start off with 1 dog, then 2 dogs, and I think a couple days ago I had several dogs in here during a stay. I can go ahead, I think I have a clip of that, but I can go ahead and show you. Okay, so as you can see from that clip that she was able to maintain the stay within a large group of dogs. Now, there was no way I was going to be able to do that on the first week of training, so it took a little bit of time to work up to that. So it's really important that you are kind of think about that with your puppy, is that you want to start off in situations that are really easy for your puppy to pay attention to you, and then slowly start to raise the levels of distraction. So don't start off in a situation that's way too difficult for your puppy to pay attention to you. All right, hope you can implement some of these tips with your puppy, and I'll see you in another training video.